So we know that things are always changing and growing and evolving every day, realistically, in every moment. There's quite a bit of different messages coming through. So whatever you see on the title of this video is going to be what came through because I feel guided to simply hold space for the energies that are coming through that I'm picking up on in the way that I receive energies. And of course, take whatever resonates, leave what doesn't. I would love to hear from you in the comments if you want to expand upon this or share your own experiences as guided. But as we've moved into the energies of 2025, some of the things that have been coming through quite significantly is that we're being called to rest. There's a lot of physical things that many of you may be feeling as a result of the solar storms. We've been having more X-class solar flares. The Schumann resonance has been rocking and rolling in its own right. And of course, we just have these general overall processes that we're going through. And the messages and energy that's been coming in from the last few weeks is really about allowing ourselves to rest and go into very deep states of physical restoration, healing, transformation. For those of you that resonate with this is what's been coming through for me. And I wanted to let you know I shared the last two, three, four sessions that I've shared on my Patreon. These meditative, energetic sessions have really been to support this process of resting to receive the results of what we've been, working with. There's been a lot of like nervous system relaxation and support. If you're interested in that, it's on my Patreon group, but it's also available individually on my website. So I'll leave those below. Also, super fast while I'm on this topic, I do have some sessions available this week. If any of you are interested or guided, I'll leave all of that in the pinned comment. But again, I really am sensing what I'm picking up on is this energy. Like, if you sort of feel like you're landing more deeply into the new for yourself, but at the same time, there's sort of this sense that a lot of things are still being moved and shuffled around. What I'm sensing is that we're going into like another phase. As always, this is a process. We're growing. So this is happening. But what I'm sensing is that we're sort of all being moved to where we're aligned to now. And it feels like you will, or many of us may be doing new things, meeting new people. I know there's the resting phase, which we're being called to, but in the upcoming weeks and months, you may find yourself choosing to focus on more specific things and maybe letting some things go that you were working on in the past. The other energy stream that's been coming in deeply as a part of this is that through these processes, the ascension and evolution processes, and how so many of us have been working with the planetary energies and the ascension energies, what the collective has unlocked and opened in a much deeper state is more of the true sacred masculine energies for all of humanity, for all of the planet. And how I have seen it and witnessed it is almost like there was a portion of the masculine essence and energy that was like imprisoned and almost like in a cryo freeze, like a state of frozen energy. Now, many of you, regardless of how you identify, masculine or feminine, you may experience this as that sort of shock energy or frozen trauma energy in the nervous system or in the physical body. And this is something that, in most cases, it is in all of humanity, just based on the way that we were suppressed throughout the millennia, throughout generations. But we've also reached this precipice where so much of those higher energies and solar flares and information is flooding onto the planet, and so many more people are becoming aware and embodying and focusing on embodying more of their true soul essence and connecting with their higher power and going direct to their own connection to source, eliminating more of the middlemen sort of controlling their stream of their connection to source, that this energy is opening a lot more space for us on a planetary level. And those that have been working deeply to dissolve and resolve the projections onto one another, onto other humans, those that have been embodying into self responsibility and unraveling the projection of anger at others, specifically as the feminines have been unraveling their projection towards the masculines, and the masculines are unraveling their projections towards the feminines. And truly dropping in unity, consciousness, and unconditional love, this is allowing these old patterns to dissolve. Now, I also understand that this is a process that humanity is still going through. And one of the main things that can be exceedingly important on this process, no matter where you are, no matter what you believe, no matter how you've been initiated onto this process or in this process, no matter where you are landing right now, the number one biggest power that you have is your own personal responsibility for yourself. And what I mean by this is anything that's occurring within you or around you, you have the capacity to shift it based on how you choose to respond to the information that's happening around you. So it's this energy of you have a situation, an event, an occurrence, you have your response, so event plus response equals the outcome. So how you choose to respond to something or not respond to something will actually automatically change the outcome for you, but all of the people also connected with you. And this event plus response equals outcome is something I actually learned from Jack Canfield many years ago. And it made so much sense to me, and what it really does is it empowers us to drop into our own personal choices of how we choose to respond to things, but also we deeply have a choice of how we choose to perceive things. And this is a big important piece that I believe personally can be life changing, because for me, it's been life changing. And an example could be that when we're having an experience and we think that we need something, and then that thing is not available, one of two things can happen. We can choose to go into victim mode and believe that we're not cared for and we're not receiving what we need, or we can drop into a deeper trust that it's not available because it's not actually what we need, and what we truly are seeking and what we truly need to support us is absolutely available for us. And we just have to expand our perspective to receive what it is that we need. And I'll use myself as an example. So, a few years ago, I sort of felt that I was having a thyroid imbalance in my system. I generally do like to address things from a very natural space, but there was a lot going on, and I just felt like I was going to cover all my bases. And so I actually contacted a conventional doctor. There was not many available. I actually even had to go and drive in a thunderstorm to apply to be received as one of this doctor's patients. I went through this process. No one called me back. No one provided me with an appointment. I tried multiple conventional directions because, again, I said I was just guided to sort of cover all my bases. I was still looking in the natural ways and supporting myself, but I was just guided. And I feel like I went through this process for this very specific reason of what I'm explaining to you. No one called me back. And I knew deep within my heart that it was because they did not have the answers I needed. They did not have the support that I actually required to truly heal my body and what I was looking for. Now, this is not to say that this is your situation or what is correct for you. My whole entire point is that I was seeking something and it wasn't available in multiple different areas, but I kept asking for what was truly in alignment with me and what was going to actually support me in healing my body. And as I just kept trusting over time, all of a sudden, one morning I woke up and I got very specific guidance to contact a very specific person. And I connected with her, and very quickly she was willing to work with me. She knew I was intuitive, and we chose to work together. And he gave me the space to give my feedback and what I was picking up on within my own body versus being someone who was trying to tell me that they knew my body better than I did. And so we had this co-creative process. And as a result, I found healing through foods and through certain supports that my body was needing at that time. And it was actually quite simple in the sense that the remedies and what I was needing was simple when we broke it down to what was actually going on. And I'm sharing that because it's not about not allowing ourselves to get support. Earlier, when I talked about the middleman, I'm talking about the energies where someone or something is telling you that they know better about who you are and what you need than you do. But some of the things when you're taking that self responsibility and you're allowing yourself to evolve to your next levels, the types of things that you're going to want to look for is just like what I saw within that woman was someone who had information and knowledge that I did not hold at the time, but was also willing to listen to and hear what I had to say about what was actually happening with me. And that beautiful co creative process allowed for very deep physical healing to occur. And it's still a process and a dance, but this is what I found for me is more important. Connecting with others who are actually willing to work with me versus telling me what I should or shouldn't be doing or what's better for me. And why this is important to me is because when we go underneath someone or something, we are now limited by the information that they hold or what they believe. But when we walk together side by side as equals, as each holding our own container of truth and wisdom, and that process is honored, then a whole new level of co creation can unfold. Now, I'm using this when I'm speaking about this process of like a natural health process, but these types of principles apply to anything that we are doing, to all of our relationships, because in truth, each one of us holds our own unique stream of energy and our own unique stream of experiences, and therefore our own unique streams of wisdom. Okay. And each person has their own unique purpose in that they are their own unique, beautiful self. So the more you're authentically being you, trusting you, and dropping into those energies, the more you're going to be able to show up and support yourself and also hold space with and for others as they are going through their process. And this is the energy and essence of actual unity consciousness and walking each other home. It's this deeper knowing and understanding that we're all relevant and that we all hold important information. Okay. And there's also going to be people in your life or experiences that come up that you might not resonate with, or that you might not want to partake in or participate in, or that might not be aligned for you in your path in that process. That is okay. It doesn't make the other person wrong or irrelevant. It just simply means you're not focusing on that choice at that time. You're free to go your way and explore your process. They're free to go their way and explore their process, and it's all okay. And the more you can unravel any forms of self-judgment and self-expectation, that makes it so much easier to hold that space for others. And so this is where dropping into your personal response and how you respond to things or how you perceive things can be a game changer. Now, with this, if a situation like this occurs, right, where you're having a situation where you're needing support and you're not receiving it, and it's bringing up triggers and it's bringing up emotions, and you feel unsupported or you're feeling um, left alone, well, that is a trigger that's coming up in your system to be addressed. And so one of the things is that you can just really drop into the part of you that is having the trigger and find out what that part of you is needing. You support that part of yourself, right? Kind of like I said, I was asking for help, I wasn't receiving it, but instead of going into victim mode, I kept aligning and asking for what was true for me. I kept an open mind to seeing through other avenues. I was doing some research. I was asking for guidance. I was asking to trust myself and really tap into what I was feeling. And so my answers came. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that it has to be the exact way that I'm speaking about, but the point is that we can still address whatever is coming up. In fact, if you're not feeling well and you're not able to find support, and then that's triggering you, it's within actually addressing what's triggered in your system, the part of you that feels unsupported, that as you support that part of yourself, you may find that you start to feel significantly better, my loves. Because as we empower ourselves to be responsible for providing ourselves with what we need, or asking for the correct supports that are actually going to co-create with us and respect us and help us get where we actually want to go, that things can really start to evolve and open and change. And I feel that this is coming in as I'm speaking around more of those deeper divine sacred masculine essences being awoken and more deeply healed within all of our systems. Because in fact, it's that part of our power, that part of our truth, that part of our own inner knowing and inner mastery that has been so deeply suppressed through the process in the past where we were taught to give our power away to other authorities. But as we reclaim that for ourselves, as we start listening to our own bodies and listening to our own emotions and building a deeper self-trust, then we can drop into then co-creating with others who are also trusting themselves and then respecting us in our process of our individuation, who we are as individuals, making our own choices within our own sovereignty. And I feel like I could go on with this probably for quite some time, but I think you're getting the gist of what I'm saying. We're moving more deeply. We're being called to move more deeply to embody into our sovereignty. As we embody into our self-trust, into our self-responsibility, into our self-mastery, and our self-pride, making ourselves a priority, then we can show up for ourselves and in that process, show up and support one another in different ways. And what I mean by that is we're evolving out of the old need to have another person have to support us in certain and specific ways in order to feel stable and grounded and secure within ourselves. As we are building and creating that for ourselves and being responsible for loving and prioritizing ourselves, the beautiful thing is what that does is it takes the pressure off the world around us to provide for us in those ways. And you can retrain your whole entire system to now show up in a different way. And what happens is you will find that a majority of those things that you were wanting, as you provide them for yourself, the people, places, things, and opportunities that actually can support you in those manners show up, but not out of a lack within your system. But because now you're not lacking within yourself, what's happening is you're able to build that in a different way. In what's coming through is I feel like this part is a bit deeper and more important. This doesn't mean that you have to provide every single thing for yourself all the time, but there is a different frequency. We can realize that we know that we need something, right? That is okay. We're not supposed to know everything all the time or have all of the answers. But how you can take responsibility for yourself in this process is by owning that you're needing some support within this process, but then connecting with and finding people who respect you and your sovereignty and are willing to share what they have and what they know, but not as a means to control you or to keep you underneath them, but in a way to allow the energy to build and grow and support in reciprocity, in growth with one another. Okay, not as a way to trap and control and be the provider in a way like if I provide this for you and you don't know how to do it for yourself, you'll always be codependent on me and you will rely on me for this specific information. And that is when people start to feel frustrated. That is when people start to feel disempowered. That is when those energies ramp up and you sort of feel like you're stuck in this web, right? Okay. So I know there's quite a bit in this video. If you would like me to dive into anything deeper, more specific within the context of what I'm speaking about, you let me know. I also am deeply aware that many of you have already been navigating these energies, but it feels that this is deepening into our awareness as we're moving more deeply into our physical energies and the physical manifestations of the new ways of being, that as we're dancing through these deeper layers of our own internal transformation, as we're thawing more of who we are, that some of these energies may come up in different ways with different people, places, or things. They may resurface over the next few weeks and months, potentially. But this is why this is coming up in this way, because you have the tools, you have the awareness, and this is part of the deepening into that capacity to stabilize and bring the results of who you are and what you've learned and what you have been practicing to be more deeply embodied within your own personal stream. Okay, my loves. So, again, I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to leave this here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I would love to hear from you and take care. I'll see you soon. Much love.